Potion Masters, chapters 17 and 18. The white SUV idled next to a park on the outskirts of the neighborhood. Yeltsin crammed a grease-sopped cheeseburger into his bearded mouth 2 bites at a time, while Esmeralda sat in the passenger seat, eyeing her partner with disgust. I think package did arrive. Yeltsin shoved a few French fries into what little space remained in his cheeks, but continued to talk. Children lie. I read it on their faces. Why would they lie? Esmeralda asked. Yeltsin wiped his nose with the back of his hand. Who knows? Kids. They probably just scared, that's all. You are a tad imposing. Me? Yeltsin swallowed and grinned through his cheeseburger. I'm a teddy bear. And yet you attempted to force your way into their house uninvited, she clucked her tongue. That was poorly done. You've probably blown our cover, at least with the children. Only because I smell strange smoke. But you should know their wards are very strong. I did not have clear head until after driving 10 miles to Burger Restaurant. He looked down at his meal and smacked his lips. I normally don't enjoy American burgers, but this, Yeltsin shook the cheeseburger wrapper in his hand. This I like. Strange smoke? Esmeralda checked her makeup in the mirror. Strange smoke, Yeltsin nodded. Potion smoke, but none of which I smelled before. Leads me to believe they may have tested... You don't know what you speak of, she interjected. I know what I smelled. Burned. Coming from basement. The boy's a dram, Yeltsin. From what I'm told, he knows his way around a lab. He could have been brewing any manner of mixtures downstairs. Yes, but we both know I don't make many mistakes. I'm a cipher, and a good one at that. I think the boy could have been trying to destroy something he shouldn't, something he doesn't understand. Esmeralda narrowed her eyes. Then we may be running out of time. Agreed. Should we launch attack on house? Esmeralda blotted her lipstick on one of Yeltsin's unused napkins. Not yet. If the wards are indeed as strong as you say they are, there could be far greater challenges waiting for us inside. And we don't want to risk anyone alerting the board before we can prepare. We need solid information. Besides, we know Wanda is away, and my scouts will let me know the instant she lands on American soil. Then what do we do? He swallowed. Sit here and eat? Absolutely not. I don't have the stomach to watch you gorge yourself on that slop. Tonight, I intend to initiate the next phase of my plan, and we will need to find a place we can hide to scope out their house. What, like spies? If you want to call it that, but we won't be doing the spying. She reached over and dabbed grease from Yeltsin's chin. Chapter 18. Wanda pushed hard against the wind, her boots sinking into thick, wet snow. After an hour of fighting through abysmal weather, she had no idea if she and Priscilla were headed out of the forbidden zone or deeper in. The storm had dumped so much snow in so little time. I don't think this is the way, Priscilla caught up with her, breathing hard. I distinctly remember trees. Don't you remember them? Wanda flexed her fingers in her gloves, trying to warm them. I was too angry with you. I wasn't paying attention. Well, I was paying attention, and we would have seen them by now. We've been here before, for crying out loud. We should know the way. We were never here during these conditions, Pris said. We have to stop somewhere to get our bearings. Where? Wanda demanded. There's nowhere to make shelter, and I can't start a fire out here exposed. Her eyes were wet, both with the snow and with tears. She spun around, searching, and then saw something. There! What is that? Pris shielded her eyes with her hand and started running. That's a mountain. The two of them raced towards the mountain, unable to see clearly in the maddening flurry of snow. But as they neared it, Wanda suddenly released an angry cry. Mesrick stood a few yards outside the entrance of his lair. He wore his cloak wrapped tightly around his head and held a lantern next to his face. I thought you two were heading back, Mesrick called into the wind. We got lost, Priscilla explained. Mesrick smirked. Lost? It's just 6 miles south from here. Wanda growled in frustration. How long do you think this storm will last? She demanded. Mesrick stared at the sky and sniffed. Hard to say. At least another hour or so. He moved next to Wanda, and she felt the warmth from the lantern. You won't do your family any good dying of hypothermia. Come on. I still have plenty of stew left. You can wait for the storm to pass, and then you'll both be on your way. Wanda and Priscilla followed their father back into the cave. Seated around the table, Wanda eyed her bowl of stew but refused to take a bite. Priscilla ate ravenously, indulging herself with another helping. Tell me about Gordy. Mesrick slid his bowl to the side and pressed his fingertips together. He sounds to be a gifted boy. How old is he now? He's 12, Pris said, and he's extraordinary. 12? Mesrix gaped at Wanda in shock. You were pregnant when you carried out my banishment. How did I not know that? Maybe because you were too busy formulating plans for your takeover to be paying attention, Wanda said. Maybe so. Gordy is short for Gordon, named after his father. I've met him? Mesrix asked. You were at the wedding. Wanda glanced back at her father. Ah, that's right, I remember. Gordon didn't have the gift, and the 3 of you live in that house in Ohio. 5, Priscilla corrected. What? Mesrix looked shocked. There are 5 of them. Wanda has a set of twins as well. Twins? How delightful. A family of brewers. The twins don't brew, Wanda said. Oh, Mesrix frowned. Then let's not talk about them. I want to know more about Gordy. What talents does he possess? Deciphering? Restorative? Filter? Wanda raised her eyebrows. Why do you want to know? Why not? We're not talking about anything else right now, are we? Yes, Priscilla answered. He has all of those talents, and he can even blind batch. Be quiet, Priscilla, Wanda smacked the table. He doesn't need to know everything. Besides, Gordy is still developing. He has a lot to learn. Mesrix interlocked his fingers and rested them on the table. Blind batching at such an early age is rare. He doesn't sound to be still developing. Not too many people have that gift. I, of course, am one of them, but it would appear the talent skipped a generation. Mesrix pouted and pointed to Wanda. I'm so proud of him, and yet I've never met the child. He stood and sauntered over to the mouth of the cave. I don't think the storm will stop tonight, he said, searching for a break in the clouds. And it's getting dark. This will all be ice soon. My recommendation would be to wait until morning. I'm going, Wanda zipped up her parka. You can stay if you'd like, Pris, but I'm not waiting any longer. Mesrix tapped his finger on his lip. There might be another option. A temporary solution to our predicament. It would be tricky to pull off, but if the 3 of us combine our skills, it just might work. What are you talking about? Wanda asked. Mesrix made a sudden sharp whistle, and Wanda and Priscilla recoiled from the sound. From somewhere down one of the corridors, there arose the clickety-clack of footsteps on stone. Wanda and Priscilla stood at the far corner of the cave while their father made the finishing touches on his potion. The golden liquid inside Mesrix's cauldron produced an effervescent fizz. Doll, the skeleton, stood next to his master, unmoving. I don't like this at all, Wanda whispered to her sister. If we do, there's a chance we lose all control over the situation. Not if all 3 of us share equally in the potion, Priscilla reasoned. We've done this before and it worked. Wanda watched as Mesrix spooned the potion from the cauldron and dripped the gold liquid over Doll's egg-shaped head. Once Wanda and Priscilla had completed their portions and covered the rest of Doll's head with liquid, the skeleton stiffened, and tiny tremors traveled up his spine. Fine work, my dears. This will do lovely. Once Doll had crossed the border of the forbidden zone, the Sevite syrup will bind him to the 3 of us, so long as we grasp hands. He can be given extensive instructions that we all agree upon, of course. For example, should we all agree to instruct Doll to protect Gordy? Not just Gordy, Wanda interrupted. My whole family needs protection. Mesrix groaned. Yes, well, I was merely making an example. But if it makes you feel better, should we all agree to instruct Doll to protect your family at all costs? Doll will comply. By what means? Priscilla asked. Mesrix raised an eyebrow. By any means necessary. No violence, Wanda said. I don't want my children witnessing anything like that. Mesrix sniffed. Will Esmeralda offer your family the same no-violence guarantee? What do you think, Pris? Is that in her nature? Priscilla looked at her sister and then back at Mesrix. Doll can do what he needs to in order to protect the Stitzers, but no one is to be seriously injured or killed. I think we should also be very explicit on his instructions, Wanda said, crossing her arms. I don't want your pet interacting with my family if there's not a need. Will he be able to follow that rule? If we all agree to it, there's really no limit to what Doll can do. Mesrix rested his hand on the skeleton's shoulder bone. How can he travel through the blizzard? Priscilla asked. Weather has no effect on him, Mesrix said, and he has a perfect sense of direction. Then we could follow him off this mountain, Wanda said. Oh no, Mesrix shook his head. He would lose you in a matter of seconds. He's far too swift for you to keep up with him. We are running out of time. Are there any other questions? How will Doll get all the way back to my home? Wanda asked. There's an ocean in the way, in case you forgot. Already thought of that, Mesrix pointed to Wanda's satchel. I assume you have your identification, passport, credit cards? Wanda flinched. Yes, so. Shush, dear, don't interrupt. Mesrix nodded at Priscilla. And you still have your disfarkar gel, do you not? Priscilla looked down at her bag and scoffed. You really think we can disguise Doll as Wanda and have it fly all the way from Gleamland to Ohio without anyone noticing? Well, that depends, Mesrix said. On what? On how good you are at concocting disfarkar gel. End of chapter 18.